WhiskyJason here, Whiskey Live Dublin 2024, together with
Conor Ryan from Pearse Lyons Distillery.
Good to see you again.
And great to be here and great to have you here.
How was Whiskey Live Dublin so far for you?
Absolutely spectacular. Probably one of my most enjoyable Whiskey Lives yet.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah. Great crowd. Actually, a way more international crowd than we've normally had.
All right.
It's been great fun.
What nationalities have surprised you?
Everywhere from Asia to Europe.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've had people from Japan, we've had people from all over Europe and South America. It's the most international group I've ever experienced at a Whiskey Live Dublin. Yeah.
Now, Pearse Lyons is one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful distillery in Ireland.
We like to think so, but thank you for saying it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So an old church, and you've converted it into a distillery. Beautiful, beautiful place to be. If you're in Dublin, you want to visit Pearse Lyons, where can we find you?
We're on St. James's Street, just behind Guinness.
Yeah.
We like to say that whiskey is only part of our story. Because we're in a distillery, our distillery's in a church, there's a graveyard, there's history, there's brewing and distilling history, there's Irish, infamous people from Irish, all walks of life, and we've even got James Power, the infamous James Power from Power's Whiskey buried in the distillery. So it's an incredible place.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about your whiskey here. What do we start with? What would be your standard flagship product?
So our flagship product, our most awarded, most popular whiskey would be our Pearse 7-year-old. It's a 7-year-old age statement blend. It's a blend of malt that we distilled ourselves while we're in Carlow. It's a long story there. So we have a distillery, we have a distilling story that reaches over 2 distilleries, 2 sites over 12 years. So this would have our own distilled malt. It'd be coolly sourced grain, and it's aged in Town Branch bourbon, Kentucky bourbon barrel ale, and Oloroso sherry barrels.
All right. Now, why Town Branch? So we need to tell the story of the connection here.
So even though we nice product shot, even though we're a private family-owned distillery, the owner happens to own a distillery in Lexington in Kentucky also. Well, and also a second bourbon distillery in Pikeville called Dueling Barrels. But Town Branch is the only distillery and brewery co-located on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So all the bourbon barrels that we use come from our own sister distillery in Lexington, Kentucky. It just means we've got full control.
100% quality control.
And not just that, there's a coopering session on behind us if you hear the banging. So the Whiskey Live is a really special place this year. So Town Branch bourbon, and also when we're on about what we have control over, we've control over our barrels, the yeast that we use to make our whiskey, our own company makes it. All the grain that we use to make our whiskey in the distillery for the last 3 years is grown by ourselves on our own farm, only 25 kilometers away from the distillery. And then of course the barrel. So over the whole supply chain, it's all in-house for us.
Very good. So 7-year-old, what should I pick next?
Then what we're showing off today is a distillery release. It's called a Genesis release. So I mentioned that we started distilling in Carlow back in 2012, but we only started distilling in Dublin in 2017. So this whiskey here is a single malt whiskey distilled in the summer of 2017. It's only a 4-cask marriage of malt. 2 casks are aged in Town Branch bourbon only, 2 casks are aged in Town Branch bourbon and finished in virgin oak. 57.1% ABV, and don't try.
Listen, a wonderful, amazing type of packaging. I remember last year we talked about this.
It was just released on that. So, and this is the packaging here in a spire box to signify the spire that's on the church.
Excellent. The price?
Online price is $195 for this because it's the first release from the distillery. So $195 for this. The 7-year-old would be in around the €60 mark, just to kind of put it into perspective.
So we talk about the Halfpenny?
Absolutely. So another brand, so all of our Pearse whiskies are age statemented. We've got a 5-year-old, we've done the 7-year-old, we've got a 12-year-old. So the Halfpenny whiskey, we've two versions of this, and it's
two versions, I did not know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know this, I think. Or, no, this one.
So this whiskey here, it's aged in sherry and bourbon.
Okay.
No age statement, 4 to 6 years old.
Okay.
This one here is no age statement again, but it's a 6 to 10-year-old whiskey. So this one is bourbon sherry. This one is bourbon, sherry, port, and a double charred barrel grain.
Gotcha. Excellent. What can we expect in the future? Do you have anything else you want to show us?
Ooh.
Decisions.
We have lots.
Yeah, I know.
So things that the under the counter stuff that we're showcasing today for our guests. We've got.
Don't worry. What do we got? There we go.
Oh, there it is.
As if I could tell the difference there from the moment.
I know, I can.
You can.
So, I'm showing off a 4-year-old, all PX aged Dublin distilled single malt.
I want to smell.
And then for comparative sake, we've got a 12-year-old Carlo malt that was aged in bourbon for about 8 years and 4 years PX finished. So just to show the progression of our spirit over the two distilleries.
More complexity, more depth.
More time.
Oh, yeah.
And also what we're showing off is some peated pot still.
Yeah.
So stuff that isn't old enough to be whiskey yet, but we're showing off some 18-month peated pot still in Oloroso sherry.
Yeah.
So we got some 18-month pot still in Ruby port. And we got peated pot still in Tokai white wine cask.
So where did the peat come from?
This was, when we started doing this, there was nowhere to get, actually there still is nowhere to get peated malt in Ireland.
Not really.
So, not in volumes. People are doing it themselves in order to do it.
You can do it in your shed, not really industrial size.
So what we did is, we have to go canny on this one. This is the end of it. So this one here, this spirit won best new make in Ireland a couple of years ago. Best young spirit in Ireland. It came first runner-up globally for best new make. It came second place internationally since 2020. So it's 60% malted barley, 35% raw barley, and 5% malted oats. And so we started off with a 55 parts per million peated malt. So because it's a 60% inclusion, we're looking at about a 40% ppm on this. This is only 18 months old and it's drinking spectacularly.
Let's smell.
Yeah, good taste.
Okay, you have more of an island peat, I would say.
Yeah, well, that's in the Oloroso. I'd like you to smell this one. So this is the same age, same recipe, and it's totally different. It kind of showing these side by side today. Just
chocolatey type of mocha moment compared to the ashy moment I have there.
And also kind of slightly medicinal in that. That's kind of very Islay-esque. This is more muted. Same distillate, same age, different barrels. So it's a really fun project to be able to show this off. Yeah.
Very good. So we can visit you, of course.
Absolutely.
As I said. Now I'm talking to everyone about water at the moment. Because whiskey is barley, wood, and yeast plus water. Now, in limestone country in America, we say, hey, hard water is better. In Scotland, they say soft water is better for whiskey making. What does Pearse Lyons say? What water do you use? Do you use city water?
We use city water because we don't focus or make a big deal about the water because of A, the distillation process and what it does, and B, by the Irish Whiskey Technical File, you have to
reverse all
you can only use RO water when you're bringing your spirit down from casking strength to bottling strength. So we focus on a lot of elements in our whiskey, as I mentioned, the yeast, the grains, the process. I mean, the stills that we use when they came into Ireland in 2012 are unique to Irish whiskey. There's a special inclusion in the Irish Whiskey Technical File that allows us to use the spirit still that we do. And that opened the door for weird and wonderful
an American
stills.
still in Ireland, and in America they have a Scottish still.
Correct.
Which is weird, but great.
So in our distillery in Lexington, Kentucky, we use Scottish Foresight stills, a pair of batch copper pot stills, your very traditional pot stills. But then in Ireland, we use Kentucky Vendome stills.
Vendome, yeah.
So a really cool project.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Where can we find you online?
PearseLyonsDistillery.com, and got all the information. And I don't know, maybe this might come out.
Yeah.
Scan the QR code.
Let's make it even a little bit bigger here. All right, very, very good. And if you've never seen the church here from the backside, that's great.
Great.
It's worth going. One of the best stores I had in Dublin for an Irish whiskey distillery ever. Well done, guys.
I appreciate that, Jason. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Here, together with
Conor Ryan from Pearse Lyons.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.